Hey guys, just wanted to do another video here. I saw this article featuring this interview with Arianna Greenbelt, and I thought, it's kind of a funny article, kind of an interesting article. It kind of illustrates, and I'm not trying to pick on this person. This is not indicative of her necessarily. It's more indicative of the industry and the nepotism and Disney and everything else. So this isn't about her. This is just the general. She is voicing the reality without fully realizing it of why a lot of this stuff isn't very good. And it's a seriousness level, a lack of seriousness, right? So Greenbelt portrayed young AHSOKA Tano in the 5th episode of AHSOKA. There you can see her there. Recently discussed making her Star Wars debut in the acclaimed Disney Plus series. The official Star Wars Instagram account shared a behind-the-scenes video of Greenbelt, recorded prior to the SAG-AFTRA strike, discussing how she prepped for her performance in AHSOKA. This is what's interesting. This is the official Star Wars Instagram account posting this. Now listen to what she says. I watched a ton of Clone Wars episodes. Then she clarifies, okay? I mean, when I was getting ready for rehearsal and all of that, it was just always in the background. So first she says and I'll give her credit for her honesty, right? So first she says she watched a ton of Clone Wars episodes, but then admits right afterwards that no, she didn't actually watch any Clone Wars episodes. She had it on in the background while she was getting ready for rehearsal. So while she was sitting there looking at her script, while she was potentially getting into sort of, not full makeup or whatever, but sort of getting into the AHSOKA wardrobe to some extent, it was on in the background. And again, nothing against her, but this is another person who's not taking it seriously. They're basically winging it, and they got the role probably because they're friends with somebody there. And, well, they are. I mean, she was was it Miss Marvel? Or she was in something else. I can't remember, but that's what Disney does. Once you're in, and then they don't take it seriously. Well, but I don't blame her, right? Like, the writer didn't take it seriously. Filoni didn't take it seriously. Lots of ripoffs. I have a video with that in my previous video. The leader of the pack, who's responsible for all of this, Kathleen Kennedy, is trying to change Star Wars from what was a successful marketing to 12 to 14-year-old boys to now girls, and it's just not working. And they're just not getting the same traction that they used to. And then ultimately Bob Iger, who's allowed all of this from the very beginning, the rushing stuff, he's admitted that they've way too much content, blah, 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 blah. And that's part of it too. In the Greenbelt case is like, I'm not saying she was bad in her role necessarily at all. Personally, the show's so bad, the acting doesn't even really matter at this point. But if they had fewer shows and could focus in on certain things more, they would probably be better. And maybe somebody like her doesn't even get on, and there's somebody far superior who does, right? Because there are young actresses that are better actresses. Again, I'm not picking on her. I'm not saying she was necessarily wrong for the role or anything like that. But there you go. I watched a ton of Clone Wars episodes. I mean, when I was getting ready for rehearsal and all that, it was just always on in the background. I don't know what she got paid, but if you're going to pay me like hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever it is to be in a TV show, I'm probably going to take, a couple of weeks and just get into the role, because clearly she wasn't into Star Wars. She would have said, oh, I watched Clone Wars as a kid, or I've watched all the Clone Wars. I love Clone Wars. She wouldn't say, I mean, when I was getting ready for rehearsal and all that. Greenbelt also unpacked playing a version of the Clone Wars era AHSOKA that is still Rosario Dawson's AHSOKA mentality. So this is another way that she prepped for this role, explaining that she had to combine the characteristics and combine how Rosario talks. The actor also visited Dawson on set to watch her act as an older AHSOKA Tano, which allowed her the opportunity to observe how she would walk and talk and everything AHSOKA. So this is what she's saying is this is secondary research. So she didn't want to have to sit down and research the role of AHSOKA and watch a whole pile of Clone Wars or whatever, read potentially stuff about her. She just wanted to get ready for rehearsal with it in the background and hang around on set, joking around and having fun and watching her play AHSOKA. So she's getting secondary, instead of going to the source, which is the Clone Wars and stuff, she goes to the secondary, which is Rosario Dawson. But Rosario Dawson was also being directed by Filoni, and he's proven not to be the best with live actors, let's be honest, right? It's pretty drab, pretty blah. And then she says, I just soaked up all of her body language because I really, really wanted to do it right. Well, and I see that in the show, right? She crosses her arms a lot. I mean, that's essentially the body language. It's just lots of arm crossing, and that's about it. I mean, yeah, there's some moving around when she's fighting and stuff, but other than that, there's not a whole lot there, right? So you're going to the secondary source, and the secondary source is being directed to not do much. And again, I just think it's funny that Star Wars officially put this out here, because as soon as you start listening to it, you're like, this is what you guys allow for preparation? This is the level of prep that you guys expect from your actors? Okay, so basically that's it. I mean, they officially put this out there. This is how they prepare. And I'm not even saying like it was a major role that she needs to like go all out like crazy necessarily, but like that's like the bare minimum for like a high school drama club. You know what I mean? Like you know those ones like we had drama in high school. I'm trying to remember like when you perform in front of like your classmates, right? So like you have groups of 5 and you're doing like some scene or something like that, and like that's the level of prep you would do, right? It's like, oh, well, I'm getting my costume on, I'll listen to it, and I'll watch the other actor that played her in the other scene that they did, and see, like that's not how you prep for a multi-billion-dollar IP. Like, and again, not attacking Greenbelt specifically. I think this is kind of indicative of the whole company right now. And we do know that Kathleen Kennedy was saying how it was fun to go to all the parties and all the attention, you know, in an early interview, and it just feels like these people are just doing this like it's like a pet project, like joke, you know, like ha 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 Star Wars, you know, and they're not putting their best effort in, and it starts with, you know, you can see that in the writing of this show where they didn't make an AHSOKA show. They took Timothy Zahn's novels and then just twisted and warped them into Dave's Rebels characters, and so that's not really taking it very seriously, and it's not even really taking AHSOKA seriously. He's just inserting her into somebody else's story. So Arianna Greenbelt, her interview here is just a microcosm of a larger issue within this company and within this IP, and the lack of seriousness, the lack of care, the lack of wanting to do something that the fans and or George would be very proud of. It just feels like it's just throw it together, throw it on the screen, you know, get whatever ratings we get because it's Star Wars. We'll always get enough to justify the next show. It'll never be super, super huge. We'll never have a big, massive, explosive release like the original Star Wars or Empire, any of that. But we'll just keep trucking because we'll get enough people watching that we can justify another show. And that's all this is. It's like generic story now, and it's boring. So I would like to thank you, Arianna Greenbelt, for being open and honest about how you really prepared. And I gotta say, it's pretty sad what this IP has become and what the expectations are from upper management and everybody else, and how they treat this IP as just like a high school drama club project. Anyways, guys, tell me what you think in the comment section. How do you feel about this interview, and how do you think it reflects on the whole ideology of the company and how things are being dealt with? And if you like this content, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Feel free to check out any of my other content, my Star Wars sequels reimagined, all sorts of stuff about Star Wars and some other things as well. And thanks for listening, watching, and you guys have a really good day.